then go across to Seshagiri Rao, Joint MD and Group CFO of the company. Thank you for joining in, Mr. Rao. Season's greetings to you, first of all. First, give us a sense of how steel prices are moving. There's a lot of back and forth, and we get a sense that internationally prices are going up. Also, your auto contract revision was to happen when we spoke last time around. So has it happened, and are the prices higher?
As far as the last quarter is concerned, and quarter on quarter, the net sales realizations have gone up by 5%. So that is the increase in the realizations that has happened in the quarter two over quarter one. As far as auto companies are concerned, some contracts were finalized. Part of it got reflected in the last quarter. Where the negotiations are not complete, a significant portion has not come in the last quarter. So the negotiations are still going on as far as the auto sector pricing is concerned.
Mr. Rao, what is the outlook on steel prices from here on?
As far as the prices are concerned, even though some correction we have seen in the quarter two, in the latter part of the quarter two, because of the surge in the prices of coking coal, globally the steel prices started looking up. At the same time, the rest of the world other than China, the demand is reasonably strong. Excepting Northern Europe, we are seeing an increase in the prices of steel globally. So we feel that the very high cost pressure, severe cost pressure, keep these steel prices at elevated levels. I feel it will go up further than what they are today. That is how we are seeing as far as the pricing is concerned.
Sir, if you can tell us a little bit about costs, because that seems to be the major problem area. What was the coking coal cost in Q2 FY22 versus Q1? And will these cost pressures persist even in the second half of FY22?
We have guided last time that the second quarter there could be an increase of around $30 per ton. So that is exactly what has happened in the quarter two. There was an increase of $30 per ton of coal in the last quarter on C&F basis. Whereas if I look at the current pricing scenario, whatever is prevailing, assuming that they will continue, we expect a $100 increase in the Q3.
Okay. Mr. Rao, that's one of the reasons, obviously, why for the India business, the EBITDA per ton is lower than, I guess, some of the estimates. So what's your sense from here on the EBITDA per ton front? You're saying prices themselves will move up in the third quarter. And take that into account with what's happening on raw materials. What should we expect at the EBITDA front?
On a standalone basis, the EBITDA per ton was 22,900 rupees in the quarter two, which has come down approximately by 3,200 rupees sequentially. But at the same time, if I look at it on a consolidated basis, the EBITDA per ton was 26,200 rupees, which is lower by 2,500 rupees on a consolidated basis. Because the overseas operations plus the downstream units and Indian subsidiaries have contributed, the differential in the EBITDA fall is much lower relative to what it is there in the standalone company. That is one. Number two, going forward, I think what is very important is there one big historic event that has happened as far as JSW Steel is concerned. We have commissioned the largest 5 million ton brownfield expansion which has happened at a time in India. 5 million ton expansion has not happened at a time so far in India. It is the first time where we could commission 5 million ton expansion at once, where we have commissioned the 5 million ton big blast furnace and also melt shop with 350 ton converters. We have already done 8 million ton pellet plant, coke oven plant, all these fully integrated operation commenced. So this will give incremental volumes again in the next quarter, from this quarter onwards. Over and above that, this expansion which has come in recently at Dolvi, this cost of production is much lower as we have been guiding relative to the existing operation. So therefore, instead of focusing on EBITDA per ton on a blended basis, what we need to do is the absolute amount of EBITDA. If I look at the first quarter, we made 10,274 crores. In the quarter two, even though EBITDA margin has come down, as I mentioned to you, by 2,500 rupees on a consolidated basis, our EBITDA was 10,417 crores, which was higher than the Q1. So therefore, absolute amount of EBITDA, because of the volume which is coming in and the Dolvi expansion, which is much efficient relative to existing operations. Number three, which also contributes to this energy surcharge which we are talking about, the prices which can go up due to which the absolute amount of EBITDA, I think we will do better. That is what I feel.
Mr. Rao, what will the Dolvi steel plant contribute in FY22 this year? And since you're talking about absolute EBITDA, do you see upside risk or rather upsides to your overseas EBITDA?
As far as Dolvi is concerned, we have already guided that from the expansion, we will produce 1.5 million ton crude steel in this year, and we will sell 1.4 million ton from the expansion project. So these incremental volumes will come in the second half of the year, over and above the existing operations. And the existing operations, whatever shutdowns we have taken in the Q2, so the shutdowns are complete. Therefore, there will be extra production again from the existing operations also. So both together, I think there will be a good volume growth, which can come in the second half. Over and above that, if I look at the average capacity utilization in our US operations, it is in the range of around 50-55% in our Mingo, where the utilization is expected to go up. So volume growth, the way it is happening in India, it can also happen in the US. So both together, there will be a volume growth, there will be improvement in the overall absolute amount of EBITDA, notwithstanding the pressures on the cost.
Let's talk a little more about the balance sheet then. The persistent concern has been on the high debt, the net debt at over 55,000 crores. But where is the debt headed and any plans to bring it down over the next 12 to 18 months?
The net debt as on 30th September was 55,400 crores. So there is a slight increase of 450 or 500 crores in the last quarter over 30th June. But the relative ratios have come down. Either you take debt to net worth or debt to EBITDA. They have come down over 30th June or over 31st March. They are very, very comfortable levels relative to what we have been guiding. And at the same time, in this year, the total amount of additional investments we have done in the working capital is close to 8,200 crores in the first 6 months. So our inventories have gone up by 500,000 ton in the first 6 months. In the Q2, it gone up by 1 lakh ton, majorly due to congestion at various ports. There is almost 1.5 to 2 lakh tons at the ports today ready for shipments. Because of the constraints in shipping large quantities, there is accumulation of inventory at the port. So therefore, this extra inventory that got built in the first quarter, again, there will be efforts to reduce these inventories. So there is unlocking of the amount which is locked in the working capital side in the second half of the year. So with that, I think the debt level, what we have been trying is to reduce it, if not able to maintain at the same level. And the overall guidance which we have given for the year for CapEx is 18,600 crores. Out of that, we have incurred around 6,300 crores in the first half. Balance money will be spent in the second half.
Okay, got that point. So, final question then, Mr. Rao, on debt, should we assume that this is it? This is the peak? It goes down from here?
It is as the company exists, but at the same time, the Bhushan Power and Steel, through an SPV where we have made investments. Earlier, we were holding 49% in the SPV. We have exercised the option of converting optionally fully convertible debentures into equity. With that, our shareholding in Bhushan Power and Steel through SPV has gone up to 83.28%. So it has become a subsidiary of JSW Steel. So from 1st October, Bhushan Power and Steel consolidation will happen. All the numbers are not on equity method. Line by line consolidation will happen. So therefore, the debt and the EBITDA also will get reflected in the books of JSW Steel when we announce the results for Q3 onwards.
Mr. Rao, it's always a pleasure, sir. Thank you very much for joining us and running us through your business update and numbers, a little bit of looking